Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're joined here tonight in the studio to shed more light on the Dabaa Nuclear Power Plant and today's event by Dr. Mohamed Selim Salman, the energy expert and consultant and board member of the Arab Council for Renewable Energy. Dr. Salman, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for providing me this opportunity, really. Thanks.
Always a pleasure. Dr. Salman, first off now, the nuclear power plant at Dabaa, we've been talking about it for many years. The whole story started with President Gamal Abdel Nasser knocking on the nuclear door in the 50s, and then it was followed up by President Anwar Sadat and Westinghouse with the US, and later on and then President Hosni Mubarak, and lately President Sisi also signed the agreement with the Russian president in 2015, and they started construction in 2017. And it seems that we've been talking about the Dabaa power plant for years on end, and now we are laying the foundation for the fourth and final reactor. Are we on schedule in terms of construction and hopefully operating the nuclear Dabaa power plant? And if there are delays, what are the reasons for such delays?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, and really it's a great achievement. And you said that it started long history about Dabaa or nuclear power plant. Even I was in secondary school and wish at that time to study the nuclear department, which is in Alexandria University, and try to really to know more about that. Why nuclear power plant is most important? This is a new industry for the diversification of the resources of the power source. You know that we have now depend on the fossil fuel, especially in natural gas, and so it's about 90%. And as much as we use the renewable energy from the solar and the wind, but still we need another source. Dabaa nuclear power plant at the north will be the backbone of the grid, of national grid, as well as the high dam, while it was also the backbone of the national grid. And both of them, the high dam at the south and Dabaa nuclear power plant at the north, are clean energy. So there is no emissions, and both of them should operate as a base load. In operation issue, it's important for that. Do you know that such a nuclear power plant should operate 24 hours, 12 months continuously, and even reach it 24 months? That means 2 years that you operate this unit permanently. So it should be considered as a base load. You see nuclear power plant as 4.8 giga. It considered as around 20% of the minimum load of the grid, of national grid. So this is will sustain the and secure the power supply to the grid. And even if we use more and more renewable energy, and as we discussed before, that the renewable energy is intermittent, so this is a steady state and can make this imbalance in the grid. The schedule, yes, I believe that it is on schedule, even due to pandemic and also due to the Ukraine war and something, and you see the logistics and a lot of issues. So it is overcoming if there is any delay. And really it's a great opportunity to make this event today by President and the leadership of both Egypt and Russia. To attend and to see this is long-term partnership and collaboration. you know, such power plant, the life cycle is around 60 years. It is not like the traditional one. And also it is the fuel, it should be supplied or active for 24 months in one shot.
Yeah.
So no stop of the nuclear power plant for 2 years. And after 2 years, there is or around, maybe 15 months, 24, whatever, based on the conditions and based on the monitoring of the nuclear power plant. At that time, yes, shutdown and cleaning and also refueling with the uranium or the fuel. And it is similar to the steam power plant. Only the reactor, which is pressurized water reactor, and this is more safe and also is a proven experience in Russia.
Yeah.
So they are the most experienced people in this subject. So as you see, it is a good project and will follow the schedule. And I believe that the first unit will be by 2026. So, and the other three, it is to in the other or the consecutive 4 years.
Yes.
So really, it's a great project, and now the saving energy or the produced energy from the nuclear power plant will save fossil fuel, will save natural gas. So now there is a certain percentage of diversification of the resources of the power.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you've mentioned the diversification of the energy resources. We are talking about, well, we have the 3 biggest electrical power plants by Siemens in the world. And also we're talking about the renewable energy. We have Zohr gas field in the Mediterranean. And now we're talking about the nuclear power plant at Dabaa, which should be operational, fully operational by 2030. And even in today's press conference, or today in laying the foundation for the 4th reactor, the president said, well, we will probably be able to make it by 2028 as well. So 2 years ahead of schedule. Now, for this agreement, we should be supplied a lifelong supply of nuclear fuel or uranium by Russia, and they would also provide maintenance and supervision for the next 10 years after operation. Is this a good thing given any sort of delays that might occur? I mean, we've seen the pandemic and we've also mentioned the Russian-Ukraine conflict. So are we expecting also, are these sort of this coverage by Russia is also could be hindered by any sort of delays, man-made or not? And should we also be able to create or have our own maintenance team and maybe create our own expertise and learn at least from the Russian side to be able to sustain it for longer than 10 years?
Yes, it is now such a project and long-term maintenance and operation. And or even remember me in future, maybe some of our expertise in operation can operate the power plants in Russia. And similarly, yes, yes, it is, can be done. It doesn't matter, believe me. I've been in Moscow in 1992. And really, I was surprised with the technology and with the people who are working there and the industry, the sophisticated and complicated industry in Russia. So such project will make or attract the localization in Egypt also, that the localization percentage around 20% for Unit 1, and after that it will reach around 35, and sometimes 35%, and even can be increased. One more issue I'd like to tell you about this project. This is funded by Russia, because we have really a special relationship with Russia. Egypt, Russia is a good relationship, and even the leadership of both states are harmonic
Close.
and compatible with each other, really.
Yes.
So based on that, the fund will be provided by Russia for about 85%, and the 15% will be from Egypt, and even not from the country but from investors. So it is also important for liberalization of the sector of electricity. Such power plant, base load, deliver the generated energy to the grid continuously. This is secure the power supply for the industry, whatever the demand is. And regarding to the Siemens, as you mentioned, power plants, this is a combined cycle. Combined cycle can be stop and start easier than the nuclear power plant. Because it's gas turbine, just press push button, start, stop. But in a nuclear power plant, keep it operated, okay? Leave it, steady state. So it is a new technology transfer, and also localization, and now you can save a much fuel of natural gas. We have now combined cycle, we have steam power plants, and the old or the aged, the old and the power plants that have operated since 1980s, these units more than 40 or 45 years, now is the time of make them demolished and out of the service because the poor performance of such power plants. So we can replace now by such nuclear power plant and renewable energy. And as you see, it's, one unit is 1,200 megawatt. One unit.
Yes.
This is big one. This is big one. And the portion of steam generated from reactor, okay, this is steam as steam power plant. And this reactor, this is for the people who are working in nuclear, but this is a special case for the nuclear.
Yes.
And the other one is simple, it's a steam power plant completely, and even, but it should be really in engineering and in construction, should be in high quality, and also testing the material to ensure that the power plant will be operated safely without any troubles.
Dr. Salman, now the nuclear fuel, or the uranium, will be supplied by Russia. Now, what about the scarcity of uranium? I mean, Ukraine is one of the countries that is known to be a big source of uranium. Now, what if the supply of uranium is not sufficient or stops at some point in the future? Do we have a plan B? Can we rely on other sources or other states that can produce and export uranium other than Russia?
It is a risk calculation, but believe me, the strong relationship between Russia and Egypt that keep maintaining fuel supply. And this point, I didn't think if it is risk or probability to happen, it's minor, very minor. And I didn't think that it will happen because this relationship, and really Russia will keep to supply, and this is as per the contract. This is contracted, and I didn't think that such case will happen.
Yes. Dr. Salman, now everybody is concerned about the safety of the nuclear power plant in Egypt. It should be operational by 2030. Now, even the two leaders spoke about starting 2 years ahead in 2028. Everybody's worried about the nuclear power plant because in history, everybody is aware of the nuclear catastrophes and disasters that took place everywhere in the world. So what are the sort of precautions and measures that Egypt has undertaken to guarantee the safety and security for the environment and the area around the plant and the whole country in general?
Egypt has a skilled professionals and understand the job clearly. Really, we have a team for nuclear power plants, and they follow strictly all the instructions for safety in construction and also in operation later. So I don't think that also something like that can happen, because now the nuclear power plant is more safe, and we in the world around 435 nuclear power plants. In Russia itself, similar nuclear power plant such as this Dabaa, around 80 or 85 power plant. So don't worry. If we are worried about that, then if there is an accident by car, so we didn't take our cars, take cars out. So it is not the case. It is safe, and now proven experience, and the technology is more safe, and also monitoring and controlling of such nuclear system is under control.
Yes, and there are Egyptian students who are educated, and they're getting training as well in dealing with the nuclear reactors as well. Now, Dr. Salman, what about using the nuclear power plant to generate electricity? How and when should we feel as Egyptian citizens the impact of having a nuclear power plant in Egypt? I mean, Russia, this is the first one in Africa and the Middle East to be established in Marsa Matruh, the nuclear Dabaa power plant. When do we feel, and how will we feel the effect and the impact of this plant?
Really, it is the generated electricity from nuclear power plant. It's similar to the generated electricity from the fossil fuel power plants. It's electricity, and there is a pool. The grid is a pool. All the power plants generated electricity and put in the grid. So only the issue I hope, or I hope to be happen, that the similar nuclear power plant can be established in Africa based on our experience, and also our human resources can be partnership with the Rosatom company in Africa. And this is one of the most important selection that Rosatom or Russia selected Egypt to do this proven experience in Egypt, that it is Egypt can open the door of Africa for nuclear power plants in different countries. Yes.
Sir, now, you're an energy expert and consultant. Now, this is great news for Egypt, but what sort of obstacles would you expect that we need to overcome in actually adapting and implementing the fruit of the nuclear power plants and the nuclear energy here in Egypt? What sort of preparation do we need to undergo and undertake in order to be able to receive and really use this nuclear energy at its best, I mean, to its potential, to 100% potential?
One important issue to make such TV programs and awareness campaign to make the people who are not convinced with the nuclear power plant try to understand the real case. Previously, really, I have been asked by government which can take first coal power plant in Hamrawain, 6,000 megawatt, okay, or nuclear power plants in Dabaa, okay. So if you make such comparison and you want to decide to diversify the resources, immediately select the nuclear power plant. at least the nuclear power plant is the fuel supply for 2 years for one shot. Okay, because once you also replace the fuel, also can be done by the expats from Russia.
Yes.
Okay, but regarding to the coal power plants, we haven't coal in Egypt, and you have to make a port for that, and also logistics. You see, if you build a coal power plant and there is no coal, what you can do.
Yes.
And even regarding to the emissions. Nuclear power plant, no emissions, climate change, it will make a good reputation of Egypt. Egypt now is enter the new era of nuclear. So, and also considered the concerns of climate change.
Yes.
All these issues is an advantage to Egypt.
Yes.
So really it's a great decision.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is definitely a huge leap for the energy sector here in Egypt. As Dr. Salman has mentioned, diversification of energy really plays into turning Egypt into an energy hub. Hopefully, now we're talking about renewable energy, electrical grids and electrical power plants, and now nuclear power plants, also the Zohr gas field. This is only good news for the self-sufficiency of energy in Egypt, and maybe we'll have a bit more to export as well. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank my distinguished guest, Dr. Mohamed Selim Salman, the energy expert and consultant and board member of the Arab Council for Renewable Energy. Dr. Salman, always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Night.